Okay, well, you've all met the beautiful Selena.
Well, they haven't all met her because there's some people might not have seen
Well,
her.
there might be new people because of Selena.
That's right.
So thank you for our newcomers. Selena Clark, a registered psychologist. We need to, quickly, just while we're here, what's the difference between a psychologist, psychiatrist, and a...
Okay, good question. So,
valid question,
yeah,
right?
And a what?
Psychiatrist.
Yeah, but what was the one you were gonna say something after that?
Well, I just couldn't.
Oh, you just caught yourself.
I was going to make something up.
Before you did tongue and foot.
Philanthropist.
Foot and mouth.
no,
Disease.
so
You go down on a toe.
Sorry. Yeah, love a toe. Yum. Anyway.
oh gosh, oh bless. So no, a psychiatrist is a doctor. They have a medical degree. They do work primarily in mental health. But they're also able to prescribe medications.
That's the main difference.
Yes,
Got it.
Registered clinical psychologist.
So you're useless to us. Get out of here.
Yeah. So we need to get a psychiatrist on board, eh?
With a pad.
Yeah, but those things are real bad, those drugs, eh? Like the
opioids, yes.
they are
dangerous.
they're the behemoth of drugs. Like cocaine and
When
that's
abused.
it looks like a baby drug compared to that
Well,
shit,
you
eh?
know that cocaine is used in surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad's an ophthalmologist, and they use clinical cocaine in
What's the difference
Really?
between clinical
it's a
cocaine?
paste. It's ultra pure,
Oh.
I guess, and it comes in paste form, and they dab it.
Fuck, let's go raid your dad's cupboards.
And they I don't know how they dab it on eye muscles and things like that to,
Oh,
Wow,
anesthetize.
never knew that.
Yeah.
Amazing.
okay.
Okay, so today, last time
Today.
Last time we were with Selena, we were chatting about sexuality, and this time we thought we'd do a follow-up to one of our previous episodes, which was on cosmetic surgery, and that episode was pretty light-hearted, and it was like we found it funny because it's a subject we find funny.
Yeah. Well, I found it funny, but you're a serious you're a serious
But did you? Okay, this is my thought going into it.
Okay,
So
you weren't gonna
it was
let-
Matthew's idea to do the episode on it because he's like, David, you're a freak. You've done so much stuff to your face.
Yeah.
The world needs to see
Yeah.
your private shame.
No.
And I'm like, whatever, that's fine. Let's talk about it. I can't
Yeah.
even remember what's on
Yeah.
the list. But
Yeah.
my expectations, we'd go in and it would be like, top to toe. I didn't get to talk about anything.
Yeah, I know, but
like no one knows anything more about me than they did at the
Yeah, we're
beginning,
going to
except-
talk about it today,
but
though.
it was all about Matthew.
It
thought
was.
that
I
was
did notice
quite
that.
telling.
Yeah, well, only because it was. I wanted to show people that probably don't do it because it's like it really alters you. You know, like
When
it,
done
like,
badly.
No, but it was done well. But it just like I showed you that photo. Like if I look like I didn't even recognise myself.
But that would indicate a poor
No,
limited
it
practitioner.
was
Hey,
done
I've
well.
had filler and Botox. I don't look Chinese.
You did. You do. You've just forgotten, mate. Okay, there's times when you come out because you've got body dysmorphia, David.
Hang on.
And this is what we wanted to talk
We
about.
do want to talk about that
Yeah.
because
So let's just get on to that, eh?
there was light-hearted elements to that episode, but there were also, I think we touched on deeper things, which was like, I guess, surprising to us, and it was really interesting, and we didn't even get that far into it, but in one of the conversations we had, Matthew's always said to me, Ringo, you so obviously have body dysmorphia. And I'm like, thank God you're a clinical psychologist, Matthew, because I've thought that maybe I did at some point in my life too.
But I was right.
Thank you for confirming that.
But I was right?
Yeah, and yeah.
Yeah, I was.
Well,
Yeah,
for a period of my life, maybe.
yeah.
But
You did, and you do.
Well, I don't know if I do now.
Well, because you're
still.
still. Hang on, let's not argue. But you're still like in that episode, you had to ring. You told me that you'd rung your doctor and you wanted to whip over there and have another couple of sessions with him, right?
Yeah.
And your face is like, you can't really, it's almost perfection. But you can't really do too much more to your face, right?
Yeah, but that's
still
less
wanted
about wanting to look different.
But you
and having a comprehension of how you look and going, oh well, I can do this to take a year off.
Yeah.
That's different to like going, I'm 40, but when I look in the mirror, I see an 80-year-old. That I see 45-year-old.
Okay, so
That's
you're not you weren't going there to change something else. You were going there to maintain
Yeah,
your youth.
and it was deemed unnecessary.
Yeah, and what was it you were going to do?
So, like, old me would have found another doctor.
So what was it you were going to do?
It was to, like, I thought I was just getting a bit jowly around here, and I was just going to see if you could just.
Oh, like do a
Just-
mini facelift.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've had a facelift, but to have just a revision, just so, like
Okay.
a tighten, because everything starts drooping.
But yeah, but
again
you've
eventually,
just grown the beard, which
I
is
know.
perfect, right? So
But now in my mind, I'm like, well, how the hell do I know what's going on underneath? Am I going to
Yeah.
shave this beard and I'm
No,
going to
just
look
leave
like
it there, leave it
Rumpelstiltskin?
you could probably go there and see if you could take a bit of the ginger out of it. Anyway,
Okay, but body dysmorphia was the thing that came up, and who better to ask than a registered clinical psychologist from Hamilton,
yes.
Selena Clark.
Ah, thank you. So, yeah, I was curious to see why you made that comment. So what I did was I had a look and brought along some diagnostic criteria from our Diagnostic Statistical Manual Volume 5, which is what us clin psychs use and psychiatrists to diagnose certain disorders in people. So body dysmorphia is characterized by the perceived flaws with one or more perceived defects in physical appearance that are not observable to others.
Hang on, you're heavy breathing into the microphone.
Sorry.
It's not okay.
I'm getting excited.
Okay, so the individual will perform repetitive acts or behaviors such as mirror checking, excessive grooming, skin picking, reassurance seeking from others, comparing themselves to others in response to personal concerns. Okay? Now, the preoccupation, it causes very clinically significant distress or impairment in social or occupational or other important functioning. Okay? I'll come back to that in a minute. The appearance preoccupation is not better explained by concerns with body fat or weight in an individual whose symptoms meet diagnostic criteria for an eating disorder. So we're not talking about eating disorders here.
So it doesn't include anorexia or
No.
bulimia.
No,
Really?
No, it doesn't. Those are more eating disorders that
Yeah.
are associated.
Because you would think they would be entirely about the physical.
Yeah, and because
about control, though,
and
isn't
because too, there's also this obsessive thinking, but these compulsive behaviours that are associated with it. But we're talking about with anorexia and bulimia, the association with food and weight, to put it simply. But with this body dysmorphia, this is about perceived flaws, self-perceived flaws on our bodies. Now, here's the clicker. This is important to recognise about how it impairs your functioning. The person who has these self-perceived flaws, that they're engaging in these compulsive behaviours to try and rectify, they will be, on average, occurring 3 to 8 hours per day.
Thinking only
obsessing,
about that.
actioning, yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So they generally have poorer mental health and poorer emotional well-being and poorer social functioning. So they may start to...
That makes a lot of sense. Not for you.
It's not really.
No, it's not for you. But I'm thinking about, other people that I know.
Yeah.
It's starting to make a bit of sense now because
Yeah.
That's a prison sentence.
It is. And you will start to see people socially withdraw as well. You'll start to see them just basically become obsessed with whatever this self-perceived flaw
And
is.
how are they self-medicating? Like, what are they?
So they could be doing, like, when you say self-medicating...
Because it's not about weight gain, so it's not about the food.
No.
Is it about cosmetic procedures?
It's about, spending hours shopping for products that might remove the flaw.
Yeah.
It's about, say, excessive exercise, excessive diet, or it might be, like you say, that skin picking type behaviour.
Yeah.
You'll see a lot of compulsive talking about it. Oh God, look at this line up here. Oh God, this is disgusting. Oh God,
Yeah.
oh God, and they won't stop going on and on and on and on about it. But yeah, they'll be in front of a mirror or taking selfies or
Yeah.
looking at themselves a lot. So that's sort of how it's perpetuated and maintained. It's just all of these sort of compulsive behaviours and these obsessive thinking.
It's so sad.
And
That's so
like
debilitating.
the thing that's like fascinates me is more often than not, it's people that are actually beautiful and have really nice
Yeah.
physiques and
Yeah.
beautiful faces, you know, they're hot, right? And normally it's girls, right? That they're the ones that see these, and they're imaginary flaws, like in my opinion, because you can tell them like, wow, you're so beautiful, you've got
Yes.
the best body, like
Yep.
wow,
Yep.
and it just goes
Yeah.
straight over the like, and they don't believe it.
And that's the thing, it's called like self-perceived flaws. It's not observable to us, but to
Yeah.
them it's so prominent in their life.
So how do we get to that stage as a human that you actually, how do you get to that stage that you're clearly not the full box?
Yeah, is it external factors
Yes,
telling
so
us,
there-
or is it us inside, or both?
Well, it's a combination of things. I've got a list of sort of triggers here. Sorry, I'm reading all of this.
No, it's good.
So there's a lot of
Good you
intrusion.
can read.
Yeah.
I could read
Without
my
glasses.
writing. So there's these sort of intrusive, unwanted thoughts that like become obsessions. It comes down to family history as well. So there can be a genetic component.
Yeah.
Again, negative associations of the self, life experience, like things like being bullied by people, or being abused by people
So
as well.
if somebody's telling you if growing up or whatever that you're being told that, you know, like if you put on a little bit of weight, you've got fat, or you should be going to the gym. Do you know what I mean? So that sort of that sort of behaviour, those cues can lead someone to get like have a poor
Yeah.
poor feeling about
And
themselves.
is that because a
Definitely.
physical flaw is an easy thing to pick on? Like, here's a personal anecdote: is I remember being in a relationship in my early 20s, and the person would always grab my stomach and be like, make fun of it like all the time.
Yeah.
And like my response was, well, I got liposuction.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I'll get rid of that, and they stop picking on that. Then they were like, well, then you're pathetic because you did that.
Yeah.
How weak must you be?
You
and then found something else to work on.
Yeah, but that's just that's
But-
mental.
but-
that's mental abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's bullying.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
so
well,
like
mental
even
abuse,
on a schoolyard level, like, oh,
Yeah.
you've got a funny nose,
Yeah,
or you've
yeah.
got
Yeah.
ginger hair, or
Yeah.
But why is it that often it's the people that are the most aesthetically pleasing have the biggest issues, and especially girls, you know, like beautiful girls who are like just knockout, who just don't feel that they're, you know, that they think they're ugly, you know, like it's just like it's so weird, and they're so insecure.
Yeah. I mean, think about it like from sort of beauty is a socially sort of constructed concept, isn't it? Socially constructed phenomenon. And like social media plays a role, internet plays a role, movies, actresses, all of that sort of thing, models, they all play a role in what constructs what beauty is. And also too, that person like looks in the mirror every day at themselves, even though you might say you're absolutely beautiful, please don't change a thing, but to them they're looking in the mirror every day, and that's what they're seeing. It also comes down to how that sort of person feels about themselves, like what's their self-esteem like in other areas of their life as well.
and could it be as well like somebody who is, because some people are just great looking. So a young girl who's grown up always being told that, and kind of probably knows that they stand out aesthetically, gets to a point where they feel like their whole value is tied up in their looks, right?
Yeah.
So they know that everything in general is good, but they see one little thing wrong or something appear or change. They're like, well, this is going to devalue me. So they hyper-focus on it, fix it, remove it, do all the things they can to fix that. And then it becomes, everything's about maintaining the compliments, and then you don't believe the compliments after a while. Like, is that a bit of it?
Yeah.
Why an attractive person would be like that?
Yeah, exactly. Again, it's all individual and context dependent.
Yeah.
Yeah, life experience always plays a role in that type of thing. So yeah, I think essentially sort of how long is a piece of string? We can hypothesize and theorize about why a person may see a flaw as a flaw
Yeah.
or a self-perceived flaw. But we don't know what's going on for that person on the inside. We don't know what they've experienced. But I think it's just maintaining that, hey, if I'm putting out there that they're beautiful but they don't see that, supporting them in their non-perception of what we're putting out there, and supporting them in some of these compulsive behaviours and things like that, and these obsessive thoughts, that's that's where we can start.
I don't know if you guys have noticed it, but like I've got another theory. It's my ugly duckling theory, and it's probably not new. But do you notice with we'll talk about girls, for example, because girls and beauty are, I guess,
Go hand in
socially
hand.
more intrinsically tied together. Like a girl who's grown up, always been good looking, always been told she's good looking. She doesn't have to do that much to get people's attention, right? A young girl, an ugly duckling, might have been a bit short, might have been tubby, might have had braces, might have had frizzy hair, grows up, sprouts, grows things in all the right places, and is like smoke show. Tends to be a more well-rounded, stable human being because they've developed in a way that their looks aren't of value. They're not useful to them. They can't get ahead with them.
Yes.
So they develop character,
Personality.
they develop senses of humour, or they use their brain,
Yeah.
or they become more
That's a really,
in-depth
really
person.
good point.
So when they get older and they're oh no, I'm good looking, I can work as a model, whatever.
But it's not an
it's
issue.
not defining them.
Yeah.
And then when they get older again, the things that people liked about them growing up are never going to age or die.
Yes.
You know, you're not going to lose your sense of humour, but if all you've ever
But
had is
they're
your
few-
looks, then that's a terrifying
But
concept.
they're few and far between those people because there's not many ugly
But you know-
ducklings.
but you do
But I
know
know
them,
exactly
though.
what
You
you're
do know
I know
them.
exactly what you're talking about, and I think it's a really good point. Yeah, so they rely more on their, their personality, their brains, their humour, their ability to connect with
And
people.
they never
all
lose
stuff.
that.
They never lose it, right? So, and that's what draws people to them. And then it just so happens that they're hot as well, right? So, like they're just rolling around with like a submachine gun, pretty much. They can bowl everybody over, right? But a beautiful girl that has always been beautiful and has always been told how beautiful you are and how sexy you are and all this sort of stuff, as they get older, they get less and less secure. It's weird.
Yeah, if they've not
But
been helped along the way.
Or if all the feedback they get is from their beauty, right? Is that correct, right?
Well, yeah.
Which is super sad.
I mean, if we're hearing sort of limited feedback, like you say, about beauty, yeah, you're right. Where do you develop character in other areas of your life? Where do you develop that self-esteem? Because it's already there. It's almost like you hold a. Again, this is not the experience of everyone, but it's almost like there might be an expectation that beauty is all that they are.
Yeah.
And I think it becomes a point that you have to help that person find what else they're good at, find what other talents they have, what else that makes them them.
Yeah.
But it would change life for them entirely because they then have to consider other potential spouses, men who aren't just drawn to them for their looks. Like somebody's grown up with humour and a more developed character is going to draw more interesting, diverse.
But are they with the right man if that man's only focused on their looks and not who they are?
But if they think that their only value is in how they look, that's their only tool. So that's the only thing that's going to work, and that's only going to work in that population of men, in general.
And potentially.
Yeah. So you take that away from them, then they're like, shit, I'm not valuable to that segment of the population. Where do I start looking now?
Yeah.
Is that
does make sense,
general?
and I think that's where that individual has to draw strength within themselves, in order to navigate that part of of their life, if that's what happens to them.
Because everyone, no matter how beautiful they are, it's different for men and women, loses the power of beauty, right, with age.
But is it more common? It's more common for girls to have body dysmorphia than it is for guys.
Statistically, it is. Like I think it's about. I think what I read the other day, please forgive me if I've got the numbers wrong, about 2% American population suffer with body dysmorphia. The number could be...
That's quite a lot, though, because there's 300 million people, so what's that, 6 million people?
It could be wrong.
But you'd think with social media and that particular society being so...
There would be more?
I would have thought...
But is
but
it
I reckon
diagnosed?
but
then
we
also
get,
it's a fat-friendly society too.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. But there are a lot of guys that nowadays have body dysmorphia as well, and they're pumping iron and
so
drugs to get bigger, and
that's another good segue. That's another side diagnosis of body dysmorphia. It's called muscle dysmorphia or bigorexia, and I was quite surprised. Bigorexia, yeah. So instead of instead of losing mass like you do with anorexia nervosa and bulimia. Instead, someone with muscle dysmorphia wants to gain mass. They want to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And the perception or understanding that I have is that it's an ever-increasing bar of muscle perfection.
Yes.
It's like they get to this point of, I want my bicep to be 1 centimetre bigger. They achieve that, but then it's like, oh no, I need another half a centimetre.
Yeah.
And it just keeps going on and on from
So
there.
it'd be fair to say they, unlike an anorexic, would look in the mirror and see there'd be this big person, but they see a small person.
They see a lean person.
Wow.
And there'll be a lot of that self-comparison behaviour as well, but then you've also got these comorbidities where they might be using substances.
Right.
Or they're excessively exercising, like excessively lifting weights,
Yeah.
really strict diets, very strict diets. Like, I saw a documentary some years ago.
Like carnivore diet.
Yeah.
Well,
where-
you're pretty obsessive, like
Yeah.
that. Like, so David at the moment is like he only eats meat.
Not at the moment. I've done it for ages.
Well, at the moment, well, for the
Since
you
January.
started January. So what are we now? We're like
September.
that's literally all you've been eating is meat, right?
Yeah.
And it's worked. Like
it's good.
You've ripped to bits, right? But you'll keep eating meat, right?
Yeah.
That's it. You're not going to go because it's working for you, right?
Yeah.
So that's body dysmorphia.
No.
is it consuming all of your day? Like, are you spending all of your day? Is it impairing your functioning?
Oh no, I eat just my regular meals.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I'm not
so-
obsessing about it.
No.
But if there was like
But when we
a
go
lettuce leaf,
No, when we go out and shit, and like if I have a lettuce, if I have a Greek salad, he fucking goes into roid rage. It's like seriously.
what if you get chlorophyll on my steak?
Yeah, like it's unbelievable. So fucking don't put that fucking salad next to my steak. I'm like, I'm sorry, mate. It's fucking scary. I need to go and see somebody. I'm suffering from PTSD. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, bless you.
Well, yeah, it's getting to that stage though, David,
No.
isn't it? Like, fuck. It's unreal.
But
Like he won't walk down the vegetable aisle at the supermarket anymore. He literally goes, "Hey, no, can't go down there, can't go down there." But show him a slab of meat, he's like, "Yeah."
But no, I mean, I saw a documentary, you guys might be interested, some years ago. I think it was an English one. And it was of some young males, I'm assuming early 20s, in a gym together. And all they were doing, they were basically wrapping their stomachs in Glad wrap.
Yeah.
And then doing hundreds of sit-ups.
Right.
And then comparing, taking it off, comparing. And
What was the Glad wrap? What was that doing?
I think it was sweating out the moisture so
Blood
they could
loss.
make the definition of their abs. Like, they had perfect abs. It was like,
Yeah.
like lines everywhere. But they didn't see them as perfect. And they just would wrap this Glad wrap
Yeah.
around. And I was like, oh my gosh. But
Yeah,
they,
I hate it. That must be just like so
Yeah, that'd be
draining, you
terrible.
know,
Yeah.
like just that, like, yeah, I just couldn't imagine that, you know, like, and as you get older, because it doesn't matter how hard you train or whatever, like, just nature takes over in the end, right? So you've got to get to the point where
yes.
you've got to be a little bit forgiving, because I
That's
was a
right.
perfectionist, right? So, you know, like, I think if you're ADHD, which I think I might be, you're a perfectionist, right? So, and if you've been lucky enough to have been gifted good genes, so you can eat what you want,
Yep.
but you don't really put on a lot of weight, you can exercise easy, But then as you get older, you slow down, right? And so you look at like I'm nothing like I used to be, but I'm real comfortable with it. You know, like it doesn't faze me.
But something
anymore.
drives you
That's good.
to still work hard at it, to be the best that you can.
Yeah, but not really, mate. Like you know, like I'll say I'm going to train all the time, and I don't. You know, like when I come to New Zealand, it's just a disaster, right? Because I just get excited for a couple of weeks, charge out there, like drink too much, get too happy, and you know, but I'm not. I don't beat myself up about it. You know, like I can look in the mirror and go, "Oh, fucking fatty."
and that's a good place to be.
Yeah, and that's where I think we've all got to get. Whereas, like
Yeah.
Dave, you know, like
Dave.
holy hell.
But
Fuck, I've got to prop him up. He rings me up. He'd be howling in the morning. Oh, fucking hell. Like, fuck off, you queer. It's fucking 5 a.m. in the morning. I don't care.
And I think you're
my
right.
scales just slipped in the face.
No, you're right. 'Cause
I'm not like that. I'm
I'm
not
just
like
joshing.
that. But it did. There was a question I wanted to ask about is how people deal with those sorts of syndromes. And we were talking about cosmetic surgery the other day. And is that something? It must be something that people use in order to try and self-fix, and does it work, or does it sometimes not?
Yeah, so
Because I have varying thoughts on it.
Yeah,
but I'd like to hear yours.
Yeah, for sure. If you're using cosmetic surgery to fix these self-perceived flaws,
Yeah.
but if you continue to obsess and engage in those compulsive behaviours, if it continues to impact or impair your functioning, then, and you're still continuing to have surgery, but it's not improving your self-esteem, it's not improving how you feel about yourself, then you've got a problem. But if you're using cosmetic surgery in a healthy way, where you're still able to function, you still have good self-esteem, you're not socially withdrawing, then that's fine.
So let me profit an hypothesis. So say there was somebody who was trying to improve their midsection.
Yeah.
And
I feel like you know where this is going.
no, but listen, this is interesting.
Yeah,
because
but nuts went and got
So say they tried it and it didn't work, and they tried it 6 times.
Did you do it 6 times?
I'm not saying this person did.
You did it 6 times. See, that's body. That's
over a long period of time.
Right.
But then they went to somebody on the 7th time who nailed it and got it right, and then it's never bothered them since. So what does that tell you? For me,
says you got way too much fucking money,
that
mate.
person must be very confused.
Yeah.
But then also that it worked for them. So maybe it's they're not, people aren't getting enough.
Man, it's amazing you haven't rubbed up on me.
Hey,
you've tried to rub up against me. But no.
But no, I mean, how did you feel?
Only in the gladiatorium.
Yeah.
But I mean, did you max out, like you said, your money? Did you max out the credit cards to do it? Were you putting yourself at any risk?
No, he wasn't.
And once it was fixed, are you going back and you're happy with it? Are you going back to redo it again and again and again?
It'll be say that were to arise. It would be, I would imagine, a case of 20 years down the track when nature's spun.
Yeah, but the thing is at least
joke.
with David, this is what I semi-admire about it. He does work really hard, at his fitness, right? So, so the other week when we were talking about plastic surgery and stuff, there's a lot of people that will just jump into getting their guts sucked because they're just lazy, right? They won't try to change their diet or that sort of thing. Whereas he'll go and do that sort of stuff and then just get into the gym and he's focused and that sort of stuff. So I kind of get it. You get a head start, but then you stay on top of it. Okay?
Yeah.
Whereas the thing that I have the issue with
and
is,
bypass any genetic shortcomings you have.
Yeah. The thing that I have the issue with is when people just do that and think that that's going to last when you actually have to. You've actually got to put some work into it.
Yeah, there's a maintenance factor. Of course there is, but I mean,
and the byproduct is when you're training, it's the best dopamine hit you get in the world.
Absolutely.
The best.
And it's so good for your mental health. I mean, I know myself, personal story, perimenopause has stuffed my body.
Yeah.
Absolutely stuffed it. No worries. It's like I turned 40 and I run at least 7Ks a day. I do strength workouts.
Yeah.
I'm probably not as good at the strength workouts, but it was like I turned 40 and my body just went, nah, you're not going to be high and tight anymore.
Yeah.
And put on a bit of weight. The clothes don't fit the same way. But I know within myself it's temporary.
Yeah.
Perimenopause, menopause goes away.
Yeah.
But I know if I keep exercising, keep training,
you'll come up better once it does.
Once it does, I'm going to take herbal medications for it as well. Constantly working on my mental health and anxiety around that because I know sometimes it'll be, we've got an event to go to. I'm like, I don't want to go because I don't want people to see me looking a little bit puffier than what I used to, and I don't know what to wear. And
but you know what? But you said it before, no one gives a shit.
They genuinely don't.
No one cares. No one cares. So we put all this pressure on ourselves and think that when you're looking fabulous, or you think you're looking fabulous, fuck 'em. But what are you going to do?
That's an unexpected word from Matthew Ridge. Fabulous.
Well, but you walk into a place and you think you're looking fabulous, but it's not.
So unnatural.
And walk in and drop your kid off and go, hey, I'm looking fabulous. No one can fucking see it.
But when it comes,
I look the same now. But if I took my shirt off, I'd hate myself, right? Not hate myself, but I'll have a laugh and stick my gut out and rah.
Get back in the camera.
What?
But
no, I am in the camera.
But if people pay attention when you're on the dating scene,
No, but that's the thing.
They do.
You know, like you can hide yourself behind your clothes, right? And this is the other thing. Like, see, like I like noses. Okay, so I'll see a girl, like she's beautiful. Like I think she's beautiful, and she's got a super big honker. Like it's just really hot, and I know from the get go that they hate their nose. But that's the thing that gives them the X factor, you know. But if they could change one thing about themselves, it'd be their nose, right?
Yeah.
And why is what is that? Because it's a conundrum.
It's the way that person feels about themselves. It's how much emphasis they place their self-esteem and self-worth on their perceived imperfection.
Yeah.
And like I said before, I think this came up in the last one as well, you can give as many compliments. And the good thing is, I think we've got to recognise that it's awesome that you're putting like those compliments and you mean it and you're honest about it.
Yeah, totally.
But
100%.
that person lives with that nose.
Yeah.
And like we said, as long as if they're going to use the surgery or amend whatever their perceived flaw is, and they're going to do it in a healthy way, in a way that feels good to them, and they've got good, stable mental health.
It's just like that Jennifer, like what's her name on Dirty Dancing?
Grey?
Yeah, Jennifer Grey, right? And she was a smoke show on Dirty Dancing, man. She had that little hook beak.
She was beautiful.
She was gorgeous, right? Like, you know, like she was just hot, like just beautiful, right? And then like after that movie, she went and like whipped her nose off, like just, you know, she got a, you know, what do you call those things that you plane the wood with? And she just like whipped her nose off, right? And she just looked like plain Jane.
Yeah.
And
still pretty, but like boring. But boring.
Just boring pretty.
Yeah,
like,
boring
just
pretty.
like straight, you know, if you've got a small, straight, petite nose, you're whippy. You know, we've all got one of those, right?
Yeah.
And so I guess that's what I'm sort of trying to get at. It's like, it's your quirks that make you sexy.
But if you're telling somebody who
beautiful.
you think is beautiful,
yeah,
and that they don't think that they're beautiful, in their head, I would imagine, and I think from past experience, that it's not like it's up for debate in their head. They are, I am ugly, this is wrong with me.
Yeah, but okay,
so
so
hang on.
Yeah.
So when somebody like you, chivalrously as you do, comes along and says honestly, you are beautiful, your nose is perfect, they hear, he either feels sorry for me and is trying to build me up because I am ugly, or they hear, he's dishonest, he's a liar, and I can't trust this
They're
person.
looking for their own ways to
I've got a
validate
bad
it.
reputation. Fuck, you can't win, mate. You run around telling people they're hot. And they
So
go
then,
away thinking he's a
so that change can only come from within that person.
It can only come from within that person.
But
And
does someone like Matthew, does he keep firing the compliments?
No, I'll keep 100%. I'm never going to change that, but because it comes from a place it's not.
Or then how does he compliment them in a way that changes their mind?
But it doesn't. It doesn't matter how like.
Yeah, but you just don't. You know, haven't
But
dealt.
I've-
We haven't
I've
dealt with the
tried to
profession.
reframe it in so many ways. Like I know that the first thing you want to change is your nose, but let me tell you, if you change your nose, you're going to destroy yourself. You are just absolutely perfect the way you are. You're a smoke show right now. Is there any bullshit in that?
there's
There
nothing.
isn't.
There's nothing wrong with that compliment.
No,
nothing
but
wrong with
I
that.
imagine that a lot of women will think that a man will say anything to get in their pants. Is that fair enough?
I don't get in girls' pants.
No.
I get in between their toes. No, joke. No, joke.
RSVP and wear sandals.
No. No, but I don't.
Not
Like,
every
that's-
woman would feel that.
Okay,
I
well,
think
that's
that.
good.
Yeah, because if woman's in a stable relationship,
Sure.
and Matthew knows that they're in a stable relationship, but still wants to compliment them, then they're going to know he doesn't want to get in their pants.
Yeah, but no, but like
That's fair.
most of the women I don't know them. I've only just met them, right?
Okay.
And I'll just it's not like, and here's the other thing. I'm not running around trying to like be Casanova or anything like that because I'm not interested in that. I like the conversation. I like the connection with people, right?
That's
It's
cool.
very rare for me to find and I mean super rare for me to find someone that I find that I sexually attractive because for me it takes a long time to get to that point, because it's not just when you get a little bit older, it's just things change, right? So it's more about just engaging with people and wanting to make them feel good or
And you
just give them a hit of dopamine,
you can express that too. You can express that too. Like, hey, I don't want to get in your pants. I just want to compliment you and I hope you feel good as a result.
Yeah, but why do you even have to This is the.
I
thing,
know.
Why
do you have to frame it?
Have to
Yeah.
say that. You should,
I know.
You should be able to just it should. I don't know why society's become so
It's a little bit.
We all want compliments. We all we all want compliments, but then when we get them, there must be there's a reason why you're saying that. You've got an ulterior motive.
That's the insecurity in the person.
Yeah.
That's the insecurity in the person not being able to accept it. But also, too, they want to keep in their mind validating their flaw for themselves.
Yeah.
Because they look in the mirror every day and that's what they see.
Yeah.
They
and also,
live
who would
with
they
it.
be without that?
Yeah, and what would life
Insecurity.
look like for them? And they have this. Some of them have this belief that if I fix this, my life will be better. My life will get better.
And they don't want that.
Well, they do want that, but they think if they fix it,
okay,
like shave the nose off, then my life will get better.
But so why then? Why then also is women or guys or whatever, it's not enough to get validation from their significant other. They need validation from other people. Is that common?
I think so, because we want validation in our jobs, we want validation in our friendships.
Yeah.
We want to feel confident in every aspect and way that we move through the world.
Yeah.
Like I even asked you guys for validation, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
how did I do?
Yeah.
Yeah. How did I do?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Which you did.
Thank you.
But I think validation tells us that we're heading in the right direction, right? If we get negative feedback, then we're like, okay, well, we're doing something wrong, or we redirect, and we need validation to streamline our path through life.
Sure. Yeah, definitely.
But it's when we become dependent on it, then we stagnate, right? Because you crave it, you take it in, but you don't believe it.
Or you can use it as motivation to continue on the journey you're going on. But also, too, you can also learn to be accepting of negative feedback.
Yeah, but I've never felt it's nice to get validation, but I've never felt like I needed validation from other people to make myself feel good about myself, or that I'm successful, or that I'm treading the right path, or anything like that. But
you to a degree, like everybody, worries sometimes about what people think of you.
Yeah, but I'm not looking for validation from everybody. I'm not when I put my when I put my gear on, I go down the road or I go out at night. I'm not looking for validation from anybody. I'm just comfortable in my own skin. I don't need you to tell me that, hey, I'm this or I'm that, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just it's for me. It's hey, I am who I am, and it doesn't matter what you think about me.
Yeah.
It matters what I think about myself. That's the most important thing in the end, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's nice for people to see that there are human beings who live like that. It's nice to think that it's possible to live.
But that's how I live, David.
Which is wonderful. I agree. I'm not disagreeing with you, and I think you're lucky.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's taken work and stuff too. But for somebody I look at that and go, oh, that's so nice you can get there in life. So someone out there might be doing the same. So that's just cool.
Yeah, I think if we're
sounds like quite a stress-free life.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? It sounds like a stress-free life.
Yeah, well, I think if you don't always have to, you're not trying to measure up all the time. You've just got to be at some point. You've got to be happy in your own skin. Otherwise, you're going to be miserable.
I need to start getting more critical on your performance in these podcasts.
Well, you can. I don't
Bash
care.
it down a bit.
Yeah, if you like.
Nah, he's pretty good.
But yeah, I think. Yeah, I think that's a pretty valid point. We're running around. All these people running around. They want validation from you. You've got to you got to be comfortable in your own skin.
Absolutely.
And you have to, when you wake up in the morning, you look in the mirror, you got to be proud of the person you see, even if he's got a few pounds on.
Yeah.
Or, you get up and you've had a week and you've destroyed yourself and you've been a bit naughty and all that sort of stuff. It's okay, yep, you've been a badass, but, you're going to jump up, you're going to go to work, or you're going to jump up, you're going to go to the gym, you're going to stop doing that shit, and you just pull yourself back into line, right?
Exactly.
Because nobody else is going to do it. You got to do it for yourself.
Yep.
Full stop. That's it, I reckon.
That's good.
Yeah. Happy days.
There was one thing that I wanted to talk about in our last chat with you that we just kind of ran out of time, and it's not really related to this, but it was something that people had. There's been a lot of feedback from people out there, and it's been mainly positive, but a lot of it's been negative.
Okay.
And it happens a lot in society, and it's about we've discussed with you the gay straight dynamic of friendship, and how so a lot of people saying, oh, it's really cool to see this, in terms of what we're doing and just us being friends.
Yep.
But I know in the gay world, a lot of people think it's not possible for gay and straight people to just be mates.
Yep.
And then I think a lot of people, like a lot of the feedback about what you're doing with me is like impacts negatively on him. They're like, hanging out with a queer. And that, I know that doesn't affect your thinking, but that people's perceptions are negative. And like, why... This is totally off the subject of what we're talking about, but I didn't want to leave without going back and referencing why that's such a weird concept to people.
Well, I think it depends on the person. I mean, what I would put back to you is, what is it about you both being friends that makes you friends?
I think it's our ADHD.
Yeah.
Or humour.
And our humour, like we actually we go down, we can talk about anything and go down the rabbit hole, and then we'll pop out the other side. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And
There's not a topic that we can't talk about. We argue a lot.
I've seen that.
We argue a lot.
Yeah.
We get quite fiery. Like he'll piss me off, and I'll let him know he's pissed me off, and vice versa. And he gets a bit scared of me.
Oh, come on. I think there's disagreement. That
Come on, me. Let's see that sort of shit, right? It's just natural, you know.
Natural, and that's the thing. Like, friendships are not based on your desired gender. They're not based on your sexuality. They are not based on. They are based on what you have in common. But friendships do often they happen organically or inorganically. And I think it comes back to, if those out there want to question why you guys are friends, that's on them.
Yeah.
Like, I think you both need to just celebrate.
Yeah,
the relationship that you
I
have
don't
and
give it.
enjoy.
I actually don't give it a thought.
You don't even give it a thought.
No, but
No.
it fascinates
At
me
all.
how people get ruffled by it. And I think a lot of it's because we feel that our friend group should reflect who we are. So we should all share the same opinions. We should have all gone to the same schools. We all dress the same. We do this, we do that.
Yeah.
And we're like, there's nothing about us that's really that similar.
No, from the get-go.
But that's what makes it
that's what makes it cool.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, I never thought that I would be sitting here and having such really cool conversations with you guys, and I'm a woman.
Yeah.
So if that was the case, then I should only be associating with women,
that's
and
true.
women my own age, and women in my profession. But no, I'm not about that. You can associate with anyone. It's how that relationship functions and whether it functions healthy for you both, or for anyone, and the value, and the connection, and the strength of that connection. It doesn't matter if you guys banter or argue or whatever, you still have this strong connection.
Yeah.
So if they
But it means anyone can with anybody,
That's
not
it.
with anybody, but
No, with anybody.
your banter partner might be out there yet, and it might be a transgender, nun from, I don't know, Rotorua. Like you just don't know. They might.
I just think you've got to keep an open mind.
for sure.
And just just remain open to everything, and to not judge it straight away.
Precisely.
And just to and then ask yourself how it feels, and then wait for the answer.
Exactly. Yeah, trust your head and your heart.
And your gut.
And your gut.
Trust your gut, because the answer's that's where it is. If you listen to your head too much, you get fucked up, I reckon.
Yeah, it's true.
You can do, you're right.
Your head and your ego, that just takes you in it just takes you round and round in circles.
Why does our ego tell us stuff that we don't even agree with?
The ego likes to be protected. I mean, I've again, a bit of a side question, but I feel like the ego likes to be protected. We don't like to the ego being we don't like to feel our ego as being harmed or damaged or offended in any way. That's probably the most simplest way I can put it.
So it protects itself.
It's not who we are.
No.
Our ego is not us. It's
No.
it's an what do you call it? I've got a Hebrew meditation symbol on my arm. Ancient, that basically says freedom of ego, right?
Right.
I'm a long way from it, right?
Yeah.
But every time I look at it, it reminds me of hey, just don't take yourself so seriously.
Well,
don't think you're this and that. Stop and just relax, and listen, and ask yourself how things feel.
Wow.
Because
That's cool, isn't
That's
it?
But it
That's,
is.
maybe that's why you
That's
escape
so
the validation trap. Like, that's
Yeah.
a really cool
But
message.
you know, like when you actually sit and take notice,
Who'da thunk?
and you just ask yourself
Right?
how like when an important
Little
moment in
Matthew
your life,
Ridge is deeper
an
than
important
everyone thinks.
moment in your life, you know, like whether it be business, emotional, personal, family, whatever. If you ask yourself, hey, how does this feel? Or how does, you know, if I go down this track, what does that feel like? And you may not get the answer straight away, but when you do, that's the thing that you trust. It's
Nice.
not all this stuff in here, because this guy in here, your ego, that'll try and change things around a bit, right? But you've got to keep going back to that. And when I follow that, I always get it right.
Yeah.
When I follow my ego and stuff, it's always a disaster.
So is that ego also telling us we're fat, we're too thin, we're too ugly, we're too this, we're that? Is that ego as well as outside factors?
I think it can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I reckon it's good. Like that's a good. Like it's nice to be reminded that, hey, come on, fatty.
Yeah.
You know, like we don't want to be all just get off.
Sure,
hey,
but
amazing.
but
Like,
it's
you
not
wanna
good
have
when you're
pride-
already
No.
weighed 25 kilos and it's saying you
want to
weigh
have pride in
23.
your appearance, and you want to look the best you can possibly look. You know, like we all want to look good. We all want to be people to, you know, when you walk into a room, you want to be noticed. Like it's human nature, right? But I think the thing is to not be consumed by it.
Precisely.
You know, and just like do the best you can do, and as long as you're putting your best foot forward, then that's good enough for me.
Amazing.
Do you think we have like the next Dalai Lama
I think
amongst
we
us?
do.
That's
I'm
a
like,
fucking
what?
true
I'm
story.
sitting here thinking, what do you guys need me for?
I replied for. But I think that's a beautiful way to end it.
Oh, so
there we go.
beautiful.
There we go. Happy days.
Well, thank you,
Loved it.
Selena.
Yeah, thank you,
Thank
Selena. You've been
you.
amazing.
Thank
You're really
you.
good,
Oh,
and we'd
God.
love to have you on again, because like there'll be like, you know, I was saying to David today, like, what the fuck are we going to keep talking about? Like, you know, like, holy hell, like I've got to hold some stuff back, right? Like I've pretty much let everything out, but you know,
But the more we're kind of uncovering, the more questions are coming
Yeah.
out, right?
Exactly,
Like,
yeah.
I don't have body dysmorphia.
no.
I'm like a bit gutted. Like, I'm a little bit less interesting than I thought I
Well,
was.
increase your compulsive behaviours by 3 to 8 hours a day,
Just drink more coffee.
and just don't function.
Yeah.
Just
Maybe that sounds miserable. Anyway, I shouldn't
James.
joke.
Well, thank
Okay,
you.
guys. Thank you. Thank you, Selena.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.